just some sort of pain. You caused a permanent stain, which has determined your fate. I've never seen so clear. I feel the end and it's near. The day of reckoning's here. The sound of deafening fear.
You gon' die if you try. You just might get a little bit of trouble. K-O-I-F-E, right in your side. You will never see me coming. You gon' die if you try. You just might get a little bit of trouble. K-O-I-F-E, right in your side.
NFL Nation, how you doing? Come on in. I'm Dolph Jackson. This is the Come On In Sports Network, and you're not rocking with as the NFL turns. Listen, we got a special guest in the house. I ain't gonna waste no time. This man needs no introduction, especially in the Steel City. He's the host of BleavSteelers of the Bleavneteork. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the one and only Mr.Mark Bergin. Mark, welcome to the game.
Dolph, it's been a crazy day with the start of free agency. Thank you for having me. We got to edit your intro, though. As a Steelers guy, seeing Connor Hayward get absolutely lit up, we've got to re-edit your highlight package to start the show.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. Well, look, my friend, again, thank you for being here. Listen, family, Mark's going to hang out with us for about 30 minutes. Any questions that you have, put them in the chat. We'll try to answer them. But look, it's hot and heavy, busy day of opening day of NFL free agency. And I'm going to start in the NFC South. Let's start right here. The Atlanta Falcons get their guy. They get what many people feel they've been missing, which is a leader at the quarterback position. They signed Kirk Cousins to a $180 million contract, $100 million guaranteed. Man, I got to give it to Kirk Cousins. And his
I want to see. I would love to get some of the contracts he's gotten for the last several years now. He's a very good quarterback. I would not call Kirk Cousins an elite quarterback.
Right.
But this, to me, it's like, okay, winners and losers. Atlanta has the offensive weapons. They couldn't get it done with Desmond Ridder and Taylor Heineke. Now with Kirk Cousins at the helm, what does Minnesota do, considering Justin Jefferson's entering a contract season? Correct. And then Atlanta was one of those teams like the Pittsburgh Steelers that was a suitor for Justin Fields. There's really not a market for a team that says we have to give up a premium in a trade for Justin Fields. So what Chicago does after today, because it looks like the top three picks are all going to go quarterback, which I don't know if that's ever been done in the history of the draft. I'm looking at winners and losers. Atlanta gets a quarterback, but the NFC North, there is a huge void of could potentially Fields go to Minnesota in an interdivision trade now. I just don't see the teams that could potentially be suitors for Fields. The Raiders also out there need a quarterback, but Luke Getsy was the OC in Chicago for the last 2 years. It didn't work there. How's it going to work out in Las Vegas when you've got to play Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert each twice a year? So the losers of this one, the Vikings, missing out on Kirk Cousins because now they have a void at quarterback. And then the Bears, I just don't see a suitor for Justin Fields in a trade out of Chicago.
And as far as the Raiders go, they went on to sign Gordon Minshew. So Gordon Minshew is now down in the silver and black. I mean, well, you know, nobody has confidence in Gordon Minshew like Gordon Minshew. Believe that. You know, but as far as the Vikings, now they have that hole. Now they have a void. How do they fill that void? Do they try to get Justin Fields? But if you're the Bears, do you trade within the division? No, I don't do that. No, I'm shipping you off to at least the NFC West, or I'm trying to send to a team in the AFC, so I don't have to see you every year. But now they have that void. And as for the Falcons, young talent, we know the talent. They've been doing a good job these last couple of years of accumulating talent. B. John Robertson, London, Ajir, good offensive line, good defense. All they have been missing, as you just said, was a consistent signal caller. And now say what you want about Kirk Cousins, call him Mr. Regular Season. That's what he is. Now in the playoffs, that's another story. But for the regular season, to lead them where they want to go, and with Kirk Cousins, what Kirk Cousins will do, And I can guarantee this, he will take full advantage of all the young talent that the Falcons had. That you can be sure of with Kirk Cousins.
Let me piggyback off that too with Kirk Cousins as well, Dolph, is that he's accustomed to playing in a dome the last several years in Minnesota, and he'll do that as well in Atlanta.
Right. Now, let's jump to the NFC East. New York. I don't know how they feel in New York, but Saquon Barkley went to the city of brotherly love. And this, to me, is a very scary signing for teams in the NFC East and entire NFC. If he stays healthy, this will be the best offensive line and skill group that he has played with. And he really would not be the focal point of the opponents, because you have two. You got Brown, you have Smith, of course. You have the quarterback, and it slips my mind right now. Quarterback for the Eagles,
Jalen Hurts.
We got Jalen Hurts, Dallas Goedert at tight end. Like I said, though Kelsey retired, you still have one of the better offensive lines in the National Football League. And if he can stay healthy behind that offensive line and in this scheme, I think he could be in for a big year, at least 1,400 yards from scrimmage. What's your thoughts on Saquon signing with the Eagles?
Yeah, we don't have the schedules yet, but obviously two teams in the division that will play each other. So it's going to be must-watch television when both of these teams play, both in Philadelphia and then when they go to New York to play. And Saquon Barkley, the last 6 years of his career with the Giants, I think you hit the nail on the head of health. Can he stay healthy? Because when healthy, he's among not just the best running backs, but the best skill position players in all of football.
Yes.
And I was also curious to see kind of how he would set the market of what I think is a really talented free agent running back class, and a position that's been devalued in this league, because you can go out and get a running back. I mean, Pollard has a new team. Austin Eckler has a new team. Derrick Henry, a free agent too. And then Saquon as well. So the fact that he goes to a team within the division for the storyline of two fan bases that really don't get along and don't like each other. Like I said, when we figure out what the schedule is, circle those two dates on your calendar, because it's going to be must-watch television.
Yes, it is. Let me ask you, where do you think would be the best landing spot for Derrick Henry?
That's a great question. You put me on the spot here a little bit. It's got to be somewhere that can utilize him running the ball, but I would also like to see him at this point in his career where you can save him for November, December, and January, where he doesn't need to take 300 touches in a season, and you can save his best football for late in the season, the winter months, when it's harder to tackle a guy who's 6'3", 6'4", like what, 250 pounds that we're talking about.
Yes.
So a cold weather city, but I'm also trying to think of another team that already has at least a decent running back that can help lighten the load for him, so he can be at his best late in the season. We know he can carry the load when he stays healthy. He's as good as there is. Running backs, like quarterbacks, get in rhythm. To answer your question, I'm trying to think of which teams could use a running back that already have one on the roster. I mean,
I'm thinking too as we're speaking. I'm here in Dallas.
Well, that would be naturally that's a void too, because Pollard's now gone in Dallas. So naturally, I think that could be a fit. I thought maybe, like, I don't know what kind of caps. Let me look at the cap situations too for a lot of these teams, because you could say, oh, well, this team or that team, but they have to have the salary cap space to be able to make a move like that. Let's see here, because I'm looking at, I'll just start reading off teams with a ton of salary cap space. Commanders, kind of a blank canvas, new head coach, new GM, new ownership. Patriots need all the help they can get at skill position players. He's not going to go back to Tennessee. The Bears just signed DeAndre Swift today. Cardinals have the fifth most salary cap space. A pairing with James Conner, I think, would be interesting. But Conner is also a very good running back when he is healthy. Houston, I've heard Houston as well. to pair him with CJ Stroud and what he could do in year 2. Again, you have to look at who are the teams that could pay a luxury and a premium for the running back position.
Houston definitely has the money, and that definitely be a deal spot. Man,
I think the Colts are okay with Jonathan Taylor. Seahawks are okay with Kenneth Walker. Again, the Eagles just get Saquon today. The Bengals, I think, are set with Joe Mixon. Giants today losing out on Saquon Barkley with
they need a running back.
Look to add a running back. Again, I'm just looking at teams going from top to the bottom of salary cap space and on down.
Okay.
I think Houston makes the most sense though of all those teams that we mentioned.
Yeah, talented team, young team, energetic, good skill players, great young head coach, and of course, the rookie quarterback that came in and did things that we haven't seen a rookie quarterback do. Stroud was just amazing, and for most of the season, he was my MVP until he hit a little rough patch because he was playing that good. He was that good
as a rookie.
Now, this is a move that shocked a lot of people. Josh Jacobs signing with the Packers today. He signs a 3-year deal with the Packers. Upon signing Josh Jacobs, they released Aaron Jones, who now to me, along with Henry, become probably the top 2 backs on the market right now out there. Because I believe Eckler has signed with the Austin Eckler has signed with the Commanders. So Austin Eckler is going to Washington. Mm-hmm. So what kind of fit you think Josh Jacobs will have with the Packers?
Well, remember 2 seasons back, he led the league in rushing, and this past season, the Raiders could not get it right in terms of the quarterback position with Jimmy G, Aiden O'Connell, and so forth. The thing with Jacobs is going to be, and the reason why he replaces Aaron Jones I really like as a running back, but he has struggled with injuries. I'm talking about Aaron Jones here. So I think Green Bay thinks about it from the standpoint is, can we get him back to how he was performing as a running back 2 years ago? And with the growth we saw this past season with quarterback Jordan Love, the best way to lighten his load and make things easier with his development is to have a stud running back. And I think potentially you have that with Jacobs. I always look at the multi-year contracts and you see the big dollar figure. What I would implore on any of your listeners or viewers would be to look at the guaranteed money. Because that is going to better tell how long the contract is in actuality versus when teams could eventually get out. So you see the multi-year deal, look at how much of that is guaranteed, how much of that is guaranteed on the front end of the contract, because you see a 3-year deal. It's usually like, okay, the money's guaranteed for like 2, and then year 3 teams evaluate, okay, is this a contributor to the team that's going to earn and justify the salary in year 3? Or if things don't work out, a lot of times these types of players are cap casualties to where that number and that figure looks great on paper, but look at what the guaranteed money is with any of these contracts over the next several days.
Right. And family, just to give y'all a little news, the Browns have signed linebacker Jordan Hicks. He will be going to the Browns on a 2-year, $8 million deal. Jordan Hicks is leaving the Vikings, and he's heading to Cleveland. So Josh Jacobs, he heads on in to Minnesota. Now, I think one of the sleeping giants is Bryce Huff. I think he's been one of the better pass rushers the last 2-3 years in the National Football League. Now he goes to Philly, and to pair him up with that defensive front that they have, what do you expect from this signing? Do you even like this signing? Do you think this is a good match, Huff, in Philly?
Well, you don't want to pay a player for past performance, and he's still on the up and up and coming off a career high, I believe it's 10 sacks. It's like he was supposed to be a key and was a key member of the Jets defense, but a Jets defense that was really supposed to go on a run, and that at times did carry this team this past season. But, it was looming all year of, okay, is Aaron Rodgers going to work his way back early from injury? And that never happened. That never came to fruition with the Achilles. So a lot of onus was put on that defense. There were times they carried the Jets team, but if your defense gets stuck out on the field for long stretches and your offense can't stay on the field, a lot of times, I don't care how talented you are as a defense, you get gassed. So key contributor to that defense. And Philly needed to shore up the defense too. A lot was made. We're on paper going into the year. It's like, wow, this could be one of the scariest defenses in the NFL. Right. But, a lot of criticism with the Eagles and Jalen Hurts and the offense. That defense needed to get right. And they weren't quite as good as they had been the year before when the team had made it to the Super Bowl.
Right. All right. We got a question for you, Mo. This is from Hurricane Mike. Hurricane Mike says, how do you feel about Max Crosby and Christian Wilkerson on that defensive front for the Raiders?
Well, I can tell you Max Crosby is among the best edge rushers in all of the NFL, top 5 edge rusher, where an absolute game wrecker. And when you're going into a game, you have to know where he's at on the field, right? You game plan for him. He's probably the first player on a Raiders defense that you target, you circle, you block, you double team, you chip off the edge. You have to know where 98 is. You have to, point blank. So I look at it from that standpoint. And then, you talk about Christian Wilkins, to where if Crosby's going to generate that much attention off the edge, someone else has to eat, right? Like if you're going to be double teaming Crosby, someone else has to win his one-on-one matchups. Who can take advantage of that? Who can play off Crosby to where Crosby comes flying off the edge with an initial pressure? Who can then clean up? It's a team game, and there's some art to that too in rushing the passer. And that's really what a lot of times what we focus on with edge rushers, just because it's such a pass happy league. But Max Crosby is a guy that can do both. He can also stop the run, but just off the edge, he's as good as there is at the NFL level.
Yeah, total player. I think he's one of the most underrated players. When people talk about today the best D ends and rushers in the National Football League, Max Crosby's name doesn't come up soon enough. He's been consistent for a number of years, and at times he's been downright dominant at times. So Max Crosby is a hell of a player, and I think Christian Wilkerson is a great addition to that front. Like you said, he's getting double teamed. Now you have someone in the middle there able to press the pocket, get it right in the quarterback's face, make him release that ball before he wants to. So Christian Wilkerson headed to the Raiders, 4 years, $110 million. But the guarantee, like Mark was saying, look at the guaranteed money. We know he's going to be there, $84.75 million guaranteed money in his pocket. He's going to see all of that. So, and again, the Raiders did, on a lesser note, but they did sign Gardner Minshew today. Of course, I think he's just going to hold it down until whichever quarterback, because I think the Raiders are going to make a move in the draft to draft a young quarterback and just let him sit behind Gardner Minshew the first year, and let's just see how that turns out. But again, so that was a good signing. Now I want to get to this one here. Let me find it. Because this signing here, first of all, earlier this week the Broncos released, as we all know, they released Mr. Irrelevant. No, what do you call this? Not Mr. Irrelevant. Not Mr. Irrelevant. Russell.
Don't make me say it, Dolph.
No, it was so funny, man. I can't say it, Mo. Say it, Mo.
I believe it's Mr. Unlimited is what.
Yeah, it's Unlimited. Russell Wilson, baby. Russell Wilson has a new home. I had this before, and he said he was going to sign with the Steelers. He made it official around midnight last night that he is a Steeler. So Russell Wilson in the Steel Curtain, in the Steel City. We got Mark here, host of BleavSteelers. Man, what do you think about the addition of Russell Wilson, and what does this say about the team's confidence in former number 1 pick, Kenny Pickett? And let me just say this about Kenny Pickett. I never thought he was a first-round pick. Mm-hmm. I think he shouldn't have been picked in the first round, and he came in with he had too much expectation and too much thrown on his shoulder. too early in his career. But what's your thoughts about Russell Wilson landing in the Steel City?
On paper, it's a very favorable contract. And look, before I say anything, I hope I can do anything with my career where we can say $1.2 million is a bargain. That's a cheap deal. So let me preface what I'll say with that. On paper, if it doesn't work, Pittsburgh can just cut ties with Russell Wilson. It's not as simple as that, though, because the Broncos are paying $80 million not to have Russell Wilson on the roster. The Broncos are going to pick up between $37 and $38 million this season to pay for Wilson's contract. The Steelers will be on the hook for $1.2 million. Denver had to cut an all-pro in Justin Simmons, and they had to give away Jerry Jeudy to justify and offset the money that they had to be able to get rid of Russell Wilson. And I don't think Russell Wilson had a ton of other suitors. I do think going into this season, he's better. He's a better option than Kenny Pickett, but Russell Wilson's going to be 36 years old in November. He's not that 9-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl winning quarterback. He hasn't been that dude in several years now. I do still think it'll be an upgrade, but does it really change the Steelers' fortunes all that much this upcoming season? I don't see it. Reason being, the last 2 years in Denver, Nathaniel Hackett didn't work out in 2022. You bring in Sean Payton. Sean Payton had to do his front office's bidding in saying, hey, Russell's not the guy. And it didn't work. And he was the third best quarterback in his division behind Mahomes and Herbert in the AFC West. Well, he comes to the AFC North now. He's going to be behind Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson. We'll see maybe if he can fight for that third slot, depending on what Cleveland does with Deshaun Watson. So I wanted to see what Pickett could do with a competent offensive coordinator in Arthur Smith this upcoming season. But you don't bring in a quarterback of Russell Wilson's caliber and say, hey, here's a clipboard. Russell Wilson, barring injury or barring a catastrophe, will be the Steelers' week 1 starter of the 2024 season. I don't care how Pittsburgh's going to try to spin it and say, oh, well, an open competition. That's not going to happen just with Wilson's pedigree. Can Pickett learn for a year under Russell Wilson? But if it goes well, I think what would happen potentially is a lot similar to what happened this past season with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield, where you get him on a cheap contract. He quickly outperforms that contract. Russell Wilson's going to want to get one last big contract before he hangs it up. Now, I know he said that he's wanted to win 2 more Super Bowls before he retires. I don't see that happening. I do think the quarterback play will be better, but I don't think it changes a whole lot about the Steelers' fortune. And I'm on record as saying this. If the Steelers were going to make a move like this, I'd have rather have gone to trade a second, maybe a 3rd-round pick for Justin Fields versus signing Wilson. I understand it's cheaper to sign Wilson, but Wilson's best football is behind him. Whereas with Justin Fields, I think that his best football is still ahead of him in his NFL career. So we'll see with Pittsburgh. It does make sense, and Pittsburgh's still going to need to get one more quarterback. I think it relegates Kenny Pickett to a backup role. Mason Rudolph, I'm assuming, is going to sign with another team now that he's an unrestricted free agent. So I'd look for Pittsburgh to draft a quarterback in day 3 of April's NFL draft. That's kind of where I'll land with all of this.
I got a name for you in day 3. If he's there. Jordan Travis, Florida State.
I've heard that before.
Jordan Travis, Florida State. Reports are that his knee he's going to be ready in April. He's going to be ready to go. Before he got hurt, we know how he had Florida State. He had them rolling. He would have definitely been in the Heisman conversation. I think if you can get that young man in the 4th, 5th round and let him sit behind a veteran quarterback like Russell Wilson. Now, the last 2 stops in Seattle and in Denver, Russell Wilson reportedly has rubbed people the wrong way.
That's real.
So the thing is, with a strong coach like the Steelers, which I think is one of the greatest head coaches in the history of the National Football League, and Mike Tomlin, I don't think gets enough respect for that. With Mike Tomlin, Do you think if Mike Tomlin got any indication from their talks that Russell Wilson was how could I put this, a malcontent or a spoiled brat? I say it like that. Do you think there's any way that the Steelers would have pulled the trigger despite the money being so little as it is?
I think you answered your question with the money right there, Dolph, because again, if it doesn't work out, you can just cut him outright. And it's not like you're on the hook, like, say, Denver is, and what will go down as one of the worst trades in NFL history. I do think it's interesting when Geno Smith took over 2 years ago in the 2022 season, the very first game they played Denver and they won. And Geno Smith won respect of that Seattle Seahawks locker room. And this is not revisionist history to where, I believe he was quoted as saying it was easy to win over the locker room in Seattle because Russell Wilson, to have that mindset to be a 9-time Pro Bowler, to be a Super Bowl champion, he should have 2, if not for Seattle's decision to say, hey, we're going to pass the ball instead of giving the ball to Marshawn Lynch against the Patriots all those years ago. So he should have 2 Super Bowls, not just one. Right. But to have that mindset, it can be a double-edged sword, right? And so it's cool when you're winning Super Bowls. I think it rings a little bit hollow. I'm not even going to say a little bit. It rings hollow in a locker room. A lot of watch one of his news conferences. There's times where it is just downright weird. I'm just going to put it that way. And I think that dynamic in the locker room is something that's going to be very interesting to watch of how all of that goes down, because in Pittsburgh, the standard is the standard, point blank period. You hear that all the time if you're a Steelers fan, what the fabric and the culture is with the Steelers organization. Tomlin has experience doing it with players that I'll say are head cases, Antonio Brown being prime candidate number 1, Le'Veon Bell, Ben Roethlisberger with off the field issues, contract issues, this, that, and the other.
Right.
We don't need to relitigate all of that, but he does have experience of how to manage players with, I guess, quote unquote issues before. How Russell Wilson interacts with the team and in the locker room, that dynamic is going to be absolutely fascinating to watch this upcoming season.
Especially with Pickens. Pickens.
Well, Pickens, and then let's point this out too. Deontay Johnson, who's been a Pro Bowl receiver before, and then Pat Freiermuth entering, both of those players, Johnson and Freiermuth, entering final years of their contracts. So in contract seasons, I've said this before, I think it'll probably be Deontay Johnson's last season in a Steelers uniform, just because the money he seeks as a receiver, you'd rather have George Pickens than Deontay Johnson. So I'd rather pay that premium to Pickens when his rookie deal is up as a budding star receiver than Deontay. And Deontay's a good player, but I just think George Pickens is your most talented offensive player from Pittsburgh's standpoint.
Right. And we got one minute in this last minute, Mark. Let me just ask you, what are the number one needs for the Steelers? What are the number one needs? What is the number one need that the Steelers have remaining in free agency and heading into the draft? What should be their goal?
Well, let me start with the void that you don't have a starting center right now. Mason Cole, a cap casualty. The Steelers save about $5 million there. And so some people call them the big uglies up front. I prefer the big sexies. You have to address the center position because it starts with the foundation. It starts from the ground up. It starts from the interior. And whoever's the quarterback for Pittsburgh, if it's Russell Wilson, if it's Kenny Pickett, you've got to get the center position right. It's a position you haven't gotten right since Marquise Pouncey retired in 2021. Kendrick Green was a complete whiff by the Steelers. Yeah. I blame the front office because he was a guard at the University of Illinois, and the Steelers had him trying to play center. He was a project. He wasn't ready to go. Yes. Mason Cole was serviceable in 2022, lacked consistency in terms of snapping the ball and getting blown off the football this past season. So center is where I would start. You've had a lot of changeover at the linebacker position. I like what Omar Khan did with Cole Holcomb, Quan Alexander, Landon Roberts this last year. They couldn't stay healthy. And then we were talking about contracts before. Cam Hayward's entering the final year of his deal. He'll be 35 next year.
Time
And
flies.
his cap hit is something like $22.4 million. He's owed $16 million. If he were cut right now as a free agent, he would not make that on an open market. I love Cam Hayward. I look to see, can the team renegotiate that contract and spread that money around? If he wants to play beyond 2024, could you extend that another season and pay that money over a longer stretch and a longer period of time? And then the other big thing that Pittsburgh's going to have to decide between now and May 2nd is whether to pick up the fifth-year option for Najee Harris. If they pick it up, Najee would be owed $6.6 million for the 2025 season. Whether they do that or not, I'm looking at this free agent running back class going, you can get a stud running back, a really good free agent running back. I don't know what the class is next year, but the running, it's not so much Najee and the leadership and the durability, but it's the positional value, and 4 yards a carry to pay $6.6 million for 2025. We'll see. He stays healthy. He doesn't fumble, and he is a locker room leader, but that's a decision that the front office is going to have to make again between now and May 2nd.
Well, Mark, I want to thank you for joining us. Please let the family members know where they can find you on social media.
Dolph, I appreciate you having me. The easiest is on YouTube. If you search my name, Mark Bergin, that's Bergin. You can find the Bleav in Steelers show. Bleav in Steelers is on Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. In the audio space, part of the Bleavneteork, that's BLEAV in Steelers, and hosting the show with Ike Taylor, swagging you. It is an absolute treat.
Still a great.
Dolph, thank you for having me. I appreciate it to talk some free agency.
Hey, man, we appreciate you, your family. Now you're welcome back anytime. And we'll be talking soon, my friend. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Dolph.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All right, family. Again, the Steelers have signed Russell Wilson, family. Go with a little bit, some other moves that have taken place. It's been a lot. It's been a lot going on, family. Hunter Henry re-signed with the Patriots. 3 years, $27 million. He will be remaining with the Patriots. NFC South. Baker Mayfield had the best season of his career last year. Baker Mayfield signed a 1-year prove-it deal. He had one of the hardest tasks that you could have as a professional athlete. He was the next guy after the guy. He had to follow the GOAT. He had to follow the great Tom Brady. And Baker Mayfield did the unthinkable. Well, not the unthinkable. What he did was he stepped up to the challenge. He believed in himself. He believed in his talents. The season of his career. And he led the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to their third consecutive NFC South title. Now today, the splash signing is Cousins to the Atlanta Falcons. Now, to me, the NFC South comes down to the defending champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Atlanta Falcons. Why? Because those two teams have the best quarterbacks in the division. Now, who's the third best in the division? I'm telling you right now, I don't know. We will see. But Baker Mayfield signs a 3-year, $115 million contract with the Buccaneers to remain with the Buccaneers. Of course, earlier this week, they re-signed Mike Evans. Baker also gets $50 million guaranteed. One of the greatest to do it, in my opinion. I think he should get consideration for the Hall of Fame. Fletcher Cox is calling it a career. Fletcher Cox is walking away from the NFL. He's decided to move on to the next chapter of his life. It was a job well done. Let me just say that. Fletcher Cox, one of the better defensive interior players we've seen in a long time in the National Football League. Because we got Baker, we got Hunter. All right. Panthers released. Bradley Bozeman was released by the Panthers. He's a free agent. Haven't heard about him getting re-signed right now. Let's get some of the latest signings. Let me get some of the latest signings up for you. The latest news breaking right now, family. All right. Jacoby Brissett family is going back to New England. He will be re-signing with the New England Patriots. I believe it's a one-year deal. Adam Schefter reports. So Jacoby Brissett headed back to New England. The Dolphins have agreed to terms with a new center, locking up former Titan center Aaron Brewer, to a 3-year deal worth $21 million. Noah Fant is signing a 2-year deal to remain with the Seahawks. Let's see. The Texans are expected to sign Titans linebacker Isaiah Al-Shahir to a 3-year, $34 million deal. That was reported by Ian Rappaport. Is breaking that. Now the Jaguars, they did a lot today. They signed defensive back Ronald Darby today. He will be in Jacksonville. Former Seahawks linebacker Jordan Brooks has agreed to terms with the Dolphins on a 3-year, $30 million deal. Of course, the Chargers have signed former Chargers running back Austin Eckler. Eckler will now be the featured back for the Washington Commanders. Big trade. The Panthers have traded defensive end Brian Burns to the Giants. Burns gets a 5-year, $150 million deal with the Giants. The Panthers will receive a number 2 and 5 in this year's draft from the Giants. So Brian Burns no longer is a Panther. He will be playing with the New York Giants. He will be opposite the young pass rush specialist Thibodeau, the young man from Oregon. I think that has an opportunity to be a good pairing for the Giants. Adam Schefter reports that Saints free agent linebacker Zach Bond plans to sign a 1-year deal with the Philadelphia Eagles. Zach Bond out of Wisconsin, the Saints drafted him. Many feel that he was playing out of position for most of his career. Late in the season, the Saints moved him to pass rush specialist, defensive end and pass rush downs, and he made a significant difference. The Saints were hoping to re-sign him, but Zach Bond moves on, signs a 1-year deal. He will now be a Philadelphia Eagle. We got a trade that went down also. The trade is the Lions got cornerback Carlton Davis from the Bucks and a 2024 6th-round pick and a 2025 6th-round picks. The Bucks get a 2024 3rd-round pick. So Carlton Davis will now be playing for the Detroit Lions, and the Buccaneers now have another 3rd-round pick in this year's April's draft. All right. The 49ers have tendered a 1-year contract to restricted free agent wide receiver Juan Jennings. Also, let's see, some more breaking news for you. We got Brian Burns. The Bills are bringing back defensive end A.J. Epenesa to a 2-year deal. Mike Garafolo reports that. Former Browns linebacker Anthony Walker has agreed to terms with the Dolphins on a 1-year deal. It's a lot going on, family. Let me see. Former Patriots linebacker Mack Wilson has agreed to terms with the Arizona Cardinals on a 3-year, $12.75 million deal worth up to $15 million. So more help on the way for the Cardinals defense. This was broke by Ian Rappaport. All right, family. Yes, Hurricane Mike, Derek Carr is the 3rd best. At least he better than Bryce. I'm going to say this. I don't know about that. Let's see how Bryce Young comes out this season. Let's see what a competent coach, a competent offensive system. Let's see if the Panthers are able to put some players around Bryce Young. And let's see if, remember, their head coach, he was the offensive coordinator. Canellis, he comes from Tampa. He was the man that helped Baker Mayfield have the best season of his career. Now he gets to work with young Bryce Young. 1 year is too soon to give up on the kid. But let's see how this works out. Hurricane Mike says Tiki Barber called out Saquon. Hey, you gonna call out Saquon for going to the Eagles? Come on, man. You go where you want to go, man. Go where you need to go. All right, what else we got? Some more stuff up here for us, family. We rolling, man. We rolling. All right. Also, there was a trade. The Patriots traded quarterback Mac Jones to the Jaguars for a 6th-round pick in this year's draft. Mac Jones will back up Trevor Lawrence for the Jaguars. A lot of moving parts, family. A lot of moving parts going on. All right. Let's see. Also, big domino fell. Right now, arguably the best interior defensive lineman, 1A or 1B, along with Aaron Donald. Chris Jones signs a 5-year, $95 million guaranteed contract. I repeat, $95 million guaranteed, 5 years. Chris Jones back with the world champions, 3-time Super Bowl champion. Chiefs keep him home. He stated after the Super Bowl he wasn't going anywhere, and he certainly hasn't. He has returned home. The Chiefs keep their dominant interior defensive presence. Again, 5 years, $95 million guaranteed. Earlier this week, the Pittsburgh Steelers released longtime defensive back and arguably at the peak of his career, he was one of the best in the league. Patrick Peterson. Patrick Peterson is now a free agent on the market. Earlier this week, the Miami Dolphins, I think, with a sneaky good under-the-radar signing as they signed tight end Jonnu Smith, who was released by the Falcons. Jonnu Smith will now add to that explosive Miami Dolphins offense. A real under-the-radar good signing by the Dolphins. And, of course, it's been talked about, and we've talked about it, family. I don't know what's going on. The safety position seems to be getting devalued like the running back position in the NFL. Listen, 2-time Pro Bowl, the 5-time All-Pro Justin Simmons was released by the Broncos. Of course, they got all kind of cap problems, so they're releasing people left and right. They also traded Jerry Jeudy earlier this week. Well, just yesterday. Jamal Adams was released by the Seahawks along with Quandre Diggs. So the Seahawks released both of their starting safeties from 2023. Those two gentlemen are free and on the market. So if you do need a safety, now is the time to this is the free agency period to get a safety, family. All right. Get out the way. All right, family. Listen, we want to thank Mr.Mark Bergin for coming in from BleavSteelers and the Believe Sports Network, giving us great insight about the ongoings of today's free agent action. Listen, as we are talking, more news is breaking, family, more things are going on. Akeem Davis-Gaither, linebacker, agreed to terms, and he will return to the Bengals on a 1-year, $3 million deal. Jerry Fowler was reporting that. I told you it was a busy day for the Jaguars. Here's what Jacksonville did today. The Jaguars signed cornerback Ronald Darby to a 2-year deal. They also agreed to deals with center Mitch Morse, wide receiver Gabe Davis, formerly of the Buffalo Bills, safety Darnell Savage, wide receiver kick returner and punt returner Devin Duvernay, the former Texas Longhorn. So a very busy day for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And let's see. The Bills have restructured. This is 2 hours ago. Phil Yates reported the Bills restructured the contract of quarterback Josh Allen, converted much of his 2024 compensation into a signing bonus. By restructuring Josh Allen, the Bills have freed up $16.7 million in cap space for 2024. Allen's updated 2024 cap charge is now $30 million, $30.3 million. Jordan Brooks, of course, is signing with the Dolphins. Brooks, 26. He made it back for last season opener after tearing his ACL in the final week of the 2022 season. He played in 16 games for Seattle, missing one in December with an ankle injury. He gets with the Dolphins. He gets a 3-year contract worth $30 million. So former Seattle Seahawks linebacker Jordan Brooks will now be in the Sunshine State playing with the Miami Dolphins. All right, family. Little family, I ain't gonna keep long. Just wanted to come on. T Dirty, how you doing? Come on in. Oh, the family's in here. Bro City, how you doing? Come on in. Saints will make a splash at wide receiver when they go and re-sign Tre'Quan Smith. Man, stop it. Hurricane Mike, I think Jonah will be a good raise on. Oh yeah, with the Dolphins, I'm with you, Mike. I think I really like that. I really like that. Let's see. St. John, my guy, St. John the Butler. Come on in. Uncle Jerry's in the house. Jerry, come on in. My brother, beware the stampede, baby. We're stamping in the house. Come on in. Jeremy, how you doing? Come on in. It ain't Blazing Saddles. It's just Blaze. Blaze, how you doing? All right, blazing those Bayou Hurricanes, baby. Let's get it. All right. What else we got coming in? I saw my sister was there. She go, Dana. Dana, how you doing? Come on in. Who else we got in the house? Who else I saw up in here? I saw somebody else was in there. Hot. Oh, it ain't Booker T. Ain't the booking, baby. Booker Rankin. Booker, how you doing? Come on in. All right, family. Thank y'all for being here, man. Appreciate it. Sport. Listen, before you get out of here, everybody right now, hit that like button, please, on your way out to help us out so we can continue to grow, get more eyes on this family. And I got some more free agent news too. Let me get that up there for you. Because it's been a lot. I've been trying to, like I said, for those who didn't know, Jerry Jeudy was traded from the Broncos to the Cleveland Browns for a 5th and 6th round pick. Jerry Jeudy traded to the Browns for a 5th and 6th round pick in this year's draft. Of course, the Broncos are really in cap hell. Of course, you can manipulate. Well, who that nation, you know how that goes. All right, so Jeudy will now be in Cleveland. They expect Deshaun Watson back this year. So they should be building a better team there. Of course, Russell Wilson to the Steelers. Also, we got the big boys up front, man, getting paid too now. Hey, it all starts with that foundation. Graham Glasgow signs a 3-year deal, $20 million signs a 3-year deal for $20 million, $9.5 million guaranteed. He remains home with the Detroit Lions. Zaire Franklin stays with the Colts. He signs a 3-year, $31.26 million extension to stay with the Colts. The 49ers have released an experienced, disruptive, big man in the middle of your defensive line. He's out there. Eric Armstead, after refusing to take a pay cut, the 49ers release him, and so he is now on the free agent market. Eric Armstead. T. Higgins hit with the franchise tag. He is not happy by the lack of long-term contract discussions. He went on this morning. He demanded a trade. He wants to be traded. We'll see if the Seahawks find anything that they like, or will cooler heads prevail. Of course, this year's draft has a lot of good receivers in it. Also, the Raiders re-signed Andre James, their center, to a 3-year, $24 million contract, $16 million guaranteed. Quarterback of the offensive line is back for the Raiders. And who that nation, stand up. The Saints extend DeMario Davis 2 years, $17.25 million, with $13.25 million guaranteed. Double D, Demario Davis, one of the best in the game, looks to be ending his career in the black and gold, which he should. He's one of the best ever to wear the black and gold. Also, Michael Pittman, he was franchise tagged earlier this week, but today he was signed to a 3-year, $70 million contract with the Indianapolis Colts. Michael Pittman is one of the better young and exciting receivers in the game today. He's a big play threat. He's just a well-rounded wide receiver, and he gets a 3-year, $70 million deal from the Indianapolis Colts. Earlier this morning, first running back off the board was DeAndre Swift, as he signs a 3-year, $24 million contract with the Chicago Bears. DeAndre Swift leaves the city of brotherly love to head to the Windy City to play for the Bears, where the quarterback will be Caleb Williams. All right. Landon Dickerson remained with the Eagles as he signed a 4-year, $87 million contract, $50 million guaranteed. Landon Dickerson will be back as the Eagles, despite, like I said earlier, despite Kelsey retiring, they still have one of the better offensive lines in the National Football League. A young man that had a breakout season, Jonathan Greenard of the Texans, formerly of the Texans, signs a 4-year deal for $76 million with the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings are needing an edge rusher, of course, not known with Donnell Hunter being a free agent, and also Marcus Bus Davenport. So Jonathan Greenard will now be a Minnesota Viking. The Dallas Cowboys decided not to franchise tag Tony Pollard, let him test the free agent market. Tony Pollard signs a 3-year, $24 million contract with the Tennessee Titans, which is kind of strange, being that they have the young running back from Tulane that they just drafted, Spears, that they drafted last year. Him and Pollard, to me, seem to be this, and they seem to be the same player. They seem to be the same player, but we'll see how that works in Tennessee. Again, Tony Pollard headed to Nashville on a 3-year, $24 million contract. He will now be a Tennessee Titan. The Cincinnati Bengals re-signed tight end Drew Sample. They re-signed him to a 3-year deal. Tyler Badaz signs a 3-year deal with the Commanders. Gabe Davis signs with the Jaguars for 3 years, $39 million, $11 million signing bonus. Gabe Davis will now be catching passes from Trevor Lawrence. Of course, earlier, Christian Wilkins, 4-year deal, $110 million, $84.75 million guaranteed. He is now a Las Vegas Raider. Him and Max Crosby look to give quarterbacks fits and nightmares this coming season. All right, what else we got? Let's see. Doris Armstrong, a young man that I was high on, he is headed to the Commanders as he follows his former defensive coordinator to the nation's capital. I believe that his contract, family, if I'm not mistaken, is for 40. Well, let me get that. Yeah, Doris Armstrong's contract, I believe, is $45 million. Let's see if I get that for you. Doris Armstrong. Yeah, Doris Armstrong, his contract, family, with the Commanders is 3 years for $45 million. So he leaves the Cowboys and gets a 3-year contract for $45 million. The last 3 years, man, he had 23 sacks. He's been balling, man. The kid, hey, now he gets his opportunity to start getting more reps and increase that total. So he is one of those players that in free agency you're looking for, that player who with upside, who has steadily year after year been shown improvement in his game. And Dorrance Armstrong is one of those players, and the Commanders signed him to a 3-year, $45 million contract. All right, let's see, well, who else we got on here? We got that. Wilkins got Gabe. Cam Lewis, special teams ace for the Bills, re-signs on the 2-year, $4 million deal. He's circling his wagons, baby, and he's staying in Buffalo. Colby Parkinson is now a LA Ram. He will be signing a 3-year, $22.5 million contract, and he will now be playing for Sean McVay in the LA Rams. Jonah Jackson, formerly of the Detroit Lions, also is heading to the City of Angels as he signs a 3-year, $51 million deal with $34 million guaranteed to head to LA and to protect Matthew Stafford. Darnell Savage will be heading from Green Bay to Jacksonville. Of course, we read about that earlier, the plethora moves that the Jaguars made today. Bryce Huff, I think, just like Dorrance Armstrong, Bryce Huff headed to Philly. They already have a good front. Fletcher Cox retired. Bryce Huff gets a 3-year, $51.1 million contract with the Philadelphia Eagles. All right, family. Of course, former NFL rushing leader. And again, this surprised me. It surprised a lot of people, but Josh Jacobs is now a cheesehead. He will be playing in legendary Lambeau Field for the Green Bay Packers as he is inked to a 3-year deal. And see if I get those numbers for Josh Jacobs for your family. Let's see. 1 second, family. All right. Josh Jacobs. Nope. Trying to find. Thought I had that for you, family. Josh Jacobs. Now, I don't have a term, but it's a 3-year deal for Josh Jacobs, as he will now be playing with the Green Bay Packers. The Packers and Aaron Jones were unable to come to agreement, so they go out and sign former NFL rushing leader Josh Jacobs, and as they signed Josh Jacobs, they informed Aaron Jones that he will not be bought back. So now you have on the market, to me, your 2 top running backs now are King Henry and Aaron Jones. Those are 2 real good running backs out there. Where would Derrick Henry land, and which team would land the services of Aaron Jones? Very interesting. Keep an eye out for where those 2 guys would go. All right. Also, listen, I tell you, there was a lot going on, man. Robert Hunt, a guy that we all were high on. We highlighted him in our free agent preview. Robert Hunt signs a 3-year deal for $100 million, 26.5 signing bonus, as he will be going to Carolina to block for Bryce Young. And listen, they're smart. You got to protect the kid. They go get one of the better players in the league, and one of the better offensive linemen in his free agent class, Robert Hunt. Good signing. I like a good solid signing by the Carolina Panthers. Of course, Saquon Barkley leaves the Giants. They're unable to come to a contract agreement long term, and he goes and signs with the team in Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. Man, like Mark said, man, those games, the Giants and the Eagles this season is going to be must see. And you can bet your butt, if not both of those games, at least one of those games will be prime time. And I'm gonna call it a Sunday night game. All right, and of course the big domino that fell today. Listen, the Atlanta Falcons have since let Matt Ryan go, since Matt Ryan was traded, since Matt Ryan left, it's been inconsistent play at quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons. They have been accumulating young talent. All they were missing was a liable, a functional, a above average quarterback. Say what you want about Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins be slanging that thing in the regular season. Now, he's 1-4 or 1-3 in the postseason. But Kirk Cousins is going to take full advantage of all his weapons. And listen, the Falcons are loaded with young talent at the skill position on offense. And listen, Kirk Cousins is not the long-term answer. He's there for the next 3 to maybe 4 years. This still does not stop the Falcons from drafting a young quarterback. I'm just saying, everybody think they're out of the quarterback market. I don't really think so. All right. St. John says 180. Yeah. And think about this. He got $100 million guaranteed. Again, Kirk Cousins was the first person to get a guaranteed contract in the NFL. Kirk, it seems like how many dang guaranteed contracts? This should be what, his third one? Guaranteed. And I don't think none of them have been less than 100. So Kirk Cousins been just racking up. Yeah, Slim, come on there. Yeah, Cousins got a great agent, bro. He got a great, awesome, fantastic. His agent is off the chain, man. Kirk Cousins continues to cash in, family. Get some more news. Let's get the latest news for your family. Update, because a lot of things are happening as we speaking. The Texans are re-signing wide receiver Noah Brown. He will be back. The 49ers are adding defensive end. Y'all, all right. Be patient with me. Yeah, Tua Gross Matos on a 2-year deal. So it's for 2 years, $18 million. Carolina now has seen 5 players from last year's defense move on or be traded. And that was the strong part of the team, the defense. And right now, Carolina's defense is being decimated. The 49ers bring Gross Matos in for 2 years, $18 million. And this can signal that Chase Young would not be back in San Francisco. Where might Chase Young land? That's something to keep an eye on. Jerry Fowler is reporting that the world champion Kansas City Chiefs are interested in free agent receiver Darnell Mooney, who had a 1,000-yard season under current Chiefs offensive coordinator Matt Nagy when they both were with the Bears. All right, we got some more news breaking. Former coach running back just breaking, family. Zach Moss is signing a 2-year, $8 million deal with the Cincinnati Bengals with $4.525 million payout in year 1. Adam Schefter reports Zach Moss to Cincinnati. So Zach Moss will pair up with Joe Mixon in Cincinnati. All right. Like I said, family, we live, baby. It is breaking. Let's see. Who else? Other news. Ravens are resigning free agent linebacker Malik Harrison to a 1-year deal. Terms are not disclosed at this time. Former Chiefs punter Tony Townsend is signing a 2-year, $6 million deal with the Houston Texans. All right. Coach DeBron, or like we mentioned earlier, former Vikings linebacker Jordan Hicks is signing a 2-year, $8 million deal to head to Cleveland. And what about this, Who Dat Nation? The Arizona Cardinals have re-signed partner Blake Gillikin to a 2-year deal. How about that? Sources say that the Seahawks and Leonard Williams are nearing a deal. Let's see, we got some more breaking news. Let's see what we got here. And family, upon the Bengals signing Zach Moss, breaking right now, they have released Joe Mixon. Repeat, the Cincinnati Bengals family have just released running back Joe Mixon. So now your top 3 running backs on the market now are Derrick Henry, Aaron Jones, and now Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon, instead of being a 1-2 punch, no. Zach Moss will be the new main running back, the main ball carrier in Cincinnati. And again, he signed a 2-year, $8 million deal. That just broke about 908. And just now, family, Joe Mixon is being released by the Cincinnati Bengals. What do you think about that? All right. Elite Goods, how you doing? Come on in. All right. So Joe Mixon is out of there. Joe Mixon is a free agent now. They got some good running backs. Joe Mixon, teams that need running backs, Arizona, Dallas. Who else needs a running back? And there's some team. Carolina needs running back. Maybe what about a lot of people? I mean, maybe the Chargers. Maybe the Chargers can use a running back. But again, we got to see about the money, like Mark said. All right, family. I ain't gonna keep y'all long. Let's see, because every time I say that, I'm getting more and more breaking news, family. Let's see. All right, let's see what we got going on here. Got that's all right. Zach Moss, we got the Zach Moss news. Let's update this, see what we can get. All right. That is a surprise, man. They let Joe Mixon go. Zach Moss gets the 2-year deal, and then they come right back and they release Joe Mixon. So 3 good running backs, veteran running backs, are now on the market. Where they land. Where would Joe Mixon, King Henry, and Aaron Jones call home next season? And also, family, running back Austin Eckler. Again, Eckler signs a 2-year deal with the Washington Commanders. 2-year deal for $11 million. Eckler is in the final year of his $24.1 million contract he signed in 2020. All right, so Austin Eckler there. Again, the Seahawks are working on a contract with defensive lineman Leonard Williams, trying to keep him. Of course, we talked about the Lions acquiring Carlton Davis from the Bucks, Kirk Cousins deal. Talked about the Packers adding Jacobs and releasing Aaron Jones. Also, family, let's touch on them more. The Raiders added Gardner Minshew. The Raiders signed Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew will get a 2-year, $25 million contract with $15 million guaranteed. So Gardner Minshew will be competing with Aiden O'Connell to be the signal caller in Las Vegas, and that's if they don't draft a young quarterback in this year's draft. Also, pass rusher Leonard Floyd agrees to terms with the 49ers. Floyd gets a 2-year, $20 million contract with the 49ers. Again, Chase Young, with that sign and the other sign that says, hey, Chase Young, it was reported that Chase Young really was not in their plans, and by the day's actions, it shows that that report was right. All right. What we got? All right, family. Yeah, Slim, that's a shocker, man. I thought maybe they have Moss and Mixon as a hell of a 1-2 punch, but they are moving on from Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon is now a free agent. Well, little family, I'm about to get on out of here. I want to thank y'all for joining us on this special draft special, as we were joined by Mr. Mark Bergin of BleavSteelers of the Believe Sports Network. A lot of shaking and moving. It is not tampering. It is the free agency, first year of free agency. Just like the NBA, when they had that period where players can agree to deals and then sign, everything becomes official this Wednesday. But a lot of players are changing homes now and moving on. And if your favorite team did not make a move today, hey, it's early. Sit back and wait. Not always the flashy signings are not always the best signings in free agency. Let me just say that. So with that being said, family, I'm Dove Jackson. Listen, again, I keep telling y'all we got an announcement coming for y'all, family. Y'all I know y'all kind of peeped up on it, but we coming, man. And come on in, Sports Network. We coming. So y'all be ready for that announcement, man. But again, I want to thank everybody for joining us. I'm Dove Jackson. This is the Come On In Sports Network, and you have been watching As the NFL Turns. And we'll see everybody later. Take care, family.
So clear, I feel the end and it's near. The day of reckoning's here, the sound of deafening fear.
Don't die if you try, you just might get a little bit of trouble, can't IFE right in your side. You will never see me coming. Don't die if you try, you just might get a little bit of trouble, can't IFE right in your side.
Oh, yeah. you.